Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Reverend Donald Blosser. And we're going to be discussing his incredible book, The Good News According to Jesus, the message and resurrection of Jesus for the mission of the church. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's a lot of other places, but make sure to check out his personal site, thegoodnewsaccordingtojesus.com, to gather everything that he has in store. And I want to quickly take this opportunity and point out the fact that Don was brought to us by Kravitz&Sons. So for writers out there listening in who have gone through their process and now you need some assistance, man, head on over to KravitzandSons.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And people, it is a pleasure to have Reverend Blosser here on the line today. What if the core message of Christianity has been focused on the wrong moment? Now, that's an interesting question, and it's one that is going to be a springboard into our discussion today. Don, first and foremost, welcome to the network, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you. Thank you.
Don, we're looking forward to this discussion, man. Before we jump into your book, start by telling us a little bit more about yourself.
I'm an ordained minister in the Mennonite Church, which is a pacifist denomination. I'm a graduate of Goshen College, and then went to St. Andrews University in Scotland, where I earned a PhD in Bible. Then I returned to Goshen College, and I've been teaching Bible for about 25 years, now retired. I live by myself in Goshen, Indiana. My wife died last year, sadly.
So sorry.
But I'm doing well.
Well, listen, amongst all of that, what I've gathered, Don, is that this particular subject matter, man, you know it backwards and forwards, okay? So we know that the wisdom found within those pages, they're coming from a knowledgeable place. So let's jump right in. The Good News According to Jesus. Tell us more about it.
It's a book that was stimulated by the questions that students ask in my college level class. The ones that profoundly affected me was, why would God have to kill somebody in order to forgive other people? And I've come and answered that in the simple way, that's not true. That's widely understood and widely accepted, but it's not accurate. Jesus came to show us and tell us how God would have us live together. He did not come with the intention of dying. His death is a tragedy. It's the way Rome solved problems, was kill the messenger. But in my case here, I'm delighted to share God's answer to Rome's way of solving problems is a resurrection. So that God is about giving life. Rome and politics is about killing and taking life. I would count myself as a delighted biblical reader and active in churches.
Okay. Listen, Don, I'm curious, man, how does seeing the cross, not as an act of divine appeasement, but as Jesus's righteous response to evil, how does that approach fundamentally alter our portrait of God's heart?
See, Jesus did not come to die on the cross. He came to teach us. We've said that, so let's just park that. But how do we respond to the way people treat us and we treat them? How do the teachings of Jesus guide the way we live? And I find that a delightful question because we have so many religious people who do things that would drive Jesus crazy, would be very untypical of him. I am an active pacifist who believes that there's a better way to solve problems than to kill people. I think if we share together, I'd like to live in a way that helps people discover the love of God and the love of their neighbor.
Don, let's talk to the skeptics. What do you say to critics who might argue that this interpretation undermines the inspired coherence of the entire New Testament, particularly the epistles of Paul?
I'm a devout Jesus person, but I see Paul calling us to take care of our neighbor, to feed the hungry, to do the same thing. That Paul was a Pharisee and brought Pharisee faith, which is articulate faith rather than a lived faith. But I believe that there are enough examples in the Bible that help us recognize there are better ways to treat people than to exclude them. If we treat people as Jesus did, accepting people who other people didn't think he ought to accept, maybe we can make the world a slightly better place if we reach out to people rather than push away. The book pushes that. That's part of the good news of Jesus. There's a better way to live. And it's exciting, and it's stimulating, and it has its own value and support.
Don, I love that message, man. And it's something that I've discussed multiple times here on the network. We are in a position right now where we have so many people that preach the word of the Bible, but yet you don't see a whole lot of loving thy neighbor happening right now. And
that is quite true. That's a real disappointment.
It absolutely
is. That we
is.
don't live what we preach.
Quite the
and
conundrum.
That kind of drives people away.
Exactly. Quite the conundrum that we find ourselves in. And people, this is why I'm telling you, you got to head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Good News According to Jesus.com. Pick up copies of this magnificent book and allow it to open your eyes. Read it, man. Figure out what is being stated here. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. But be open to the opportunity that you just might. Because I think that there could be a lot of good that arrives from it. But it starts with purchasing your copies. Head on over there today and do just that.
One of the premises in the book is that the way of peace is not always successful, because you often are relating to people who don't buy into it. But the way to approach the unknown is not to criticize it, but to test it, to find out about it and learn about it. And if we can learn about how to do justice and be peacemakers, we might be able to make the world a slightly better place because of our presence in it.
What a thought, huh?
And I get perturbed at it. I'm an unusual person in that I show my emotions once in a while. But people tend to believe that if we use force, people will respond to us. But my take is they'll respond out of fear, and they won't like me for doing it to them. Jesus came along and accepted people that everybody knew he should not accept, and they didn't like it when he did. But Jesus tended to see people as persons who have a good nature and who can share and help us survive and live as friends in this world. But that message got him killed because it challenged Rome's way of solving problems. Rome killed the messenger as a way of stopping the message. God solves the message by living it, by sharing it, and practicing it. And I've seen enough places where either one works, but the one is usually more successful.
Yeah. Don, in your book, you mentioned that people are stuck, right? They're stuck on the inherited atonement theory. I'm curious to know, what was your own unsticking?
That I'll take you back, way back to my mother, who argued, if you get to learn to know people, they're probably not as bad as you think they are. So the first thing that I would say that Jesus tended to do was walk alongside people and accept them and listen to them. And if I can listen to you, I think we may find a better way of saying, hey, let's try that. That might work. And if I can see you the way God sees you, then I think we can be friends, and we might even be able to help people live better. See, the good news, according to Jesus, says that we ought to be like Jesus, learn from Jesus to accept people, to help them, to care, and not judge them before we ever know them. And I find that so difficult in people's minds. They judge before they know. And I see Jesus learning to know. And I find that exciting.
Listen, my final question here for you, Don. We've discussed a lot, and you've already painted the picture so vividly clear. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our listening audience before we let you go?
I would please to be accepting of people where they are and care about them and share life with them. And then withhold judgment, because I don't know you well enough. And I'd like, Jesus went with people that everybody else said, oh, no, not them. And Jesus said, yeah, them. So he deals with Pharisees who didn't like him very well, but they saw he saw the possibility for new life in them. And that is what I think Christian faith ought to be, a way of providing a possible outcome where I respect you and care about you. I may disagree with you, but there's no reason for me to beat up on you just because we don't agree.
Yeah.
I would hope that we could share the vision that we have and come alongside other people and discover that the world can do better.
Don, I love that message, man. I think it's beautiful in theory, but it's something that requires action that I hope a lot of people take advantage of. When people head on over and they purchase copies of your book and they embark upon this journey, I want them to ultimately ask a powerful question. Are we following a religion that is about Jesus or the path of Jesus? And I think that is a crucial distinction, because if we're following the path of Jesus, that's going to lead us to the outcome that you're talking about, right? So people, I'm going to say it one last time. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Good News According to Jesus.com. Head on over there. Purchase your copies today. Don, this has been a true pleasure. Thank you for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Hey, thanks for the time. You and I ought to do this regularly. You are interesting and delighted to share with you.